I'm Samantha Brown, professional organizer, decluttering specialist, and business coach. I created ProOrganizers Coach podcast to empower you to reach new heights in your business. I am on a mission to build a supportive sisterhood of passionate professional organizers. So whether you're a seasoned pro or you're just getting started, this podcast is for you. Hey friends, welcome back to the ProOrganizers Coach podcast. I have Miss Lauren Glynn with me, and she's going to tell you in just a minute a little bit about herself. But first, I want to tell you why you should keep listening to this episode. And the reason you should keep listening to this episode is because we are going to talk about, are you the bottleneck of your company? And if you are you the reason that your business isn't growing the way it should be? How to know, what to do about it, and then we're going to talk about her formula to get out of it. Thank you, Lauren, for coming on the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
First, tell everybody just a little bit about who you are and what you do, and then we will definitely jump right in.
So I am Lauren Glynn, obviously, and I help women and non-binary business owners stop being the bottleneck in their business. I should make that my tagline because it's not right now, and it should be. Basically, I help you when you sit down in the morning to do your job, to do your business, and you just don't know what you should be focusing on or where your attention should be going or what's worth your energy that day. I help you figure that all out and give you systems and processes to really know what deserves your attention, your focus, and what is going to move your business forward so that you can put your time and energy in the places that actually matter.
Which is huge because we all know as business owners, we can sit down and we can quote unquote work behind the desk for however many hours. But if it's not things that are actually moving the needle forward, why in the world are we wasting our time with them? But
exactly.
When you first start out, you don't know. So you're like, oh, well, I'll just keep doing it all. And then before you know it, you get burnt out or whatever it is, or you just say, forget social media or, all the things that we all go through. Okay, awesome. So talk to me a little bit about what is a bottleneck definition or what does that mean?
Yeah. So being the bottleneck in your own business is where you are the one preventing your business from progressing. You are the one that is stopping your business from moving forward and reaching whatever that next level is. Maybe it's taking more time away from your business. Maybe it's building your business bigger or having more clients or, building out more of an agency model. Whatever that next level is for you, you're the one holding yourself and your business back. And what this looks like is all the decisions have to come through you. If you have an assistant, they always have to come to you for approvals or for getting your ideas and just executing them. And you don't really trust them to do the things that need to be done to run your business. Or you're really in the weeds with the, maybe the content on your website or your social media content, or you're just really focused on sort of the minutia and you're not taking that step back to look at the bigger picture and the bigger strategy behind what you're doing in your business and where you want your business to be going and thinking through sort of those bigger moves that you need to take. You're too stuck in the day-to-day running of your business and not spending enough time thinking of that bigger picture. So you don't have time to say yes to the things maybe that you want to say yes to because you're spending too much time doing these other things. Or you say yes, but you don't really consider how much capacity you have. And so you maybe don't do as well as you could have if somebody, say, asks you to be a speaker or asks you to guest on a podcast and you didn't really put a whole lot of thought to, is this the right fit for me? Am I prepared for this? Do I have my talking points ready? Because you're so busy doing all of those other things in your business that you didn't realize that maybe that podcast wasn't the right fit for you, or the topic that you're talking about doesn't really resonate with the audience of the people, that you're speaking to. So being the bottleneck is not just about tasks going through you, but it's also about not having the capacity to think of that bigger picture, of those big next steps that you want to take, of thinking strategically about the next moves that you want to make.
Yeah, I think that's huge because just this past summer, I finally decided, I was like, you know what? I'm taking a break. I'm going back to the basics. I called it my back to basics summer but what that meant for me was to take it back to, just focusing on the podcast for a little bit. It was taking it back to the basics, but it also gave me the time to breathe and step away and pray and like do what I know I always did in my business when it was growing, because I could feel my stress and my overwhelm or avoidance or all the things I was doing is what was kind of putting a cork in it. And then all of a sudden, it just wasn't growing the way it had been previously. And I was so stressed that I'm like, I didn't create this to feel this way. Like, there's
Right.
got to be a better way to do this.
Yeah. And so many of us end up in that position of feeling like an employee in our own business. And like you said, we didn't start our businesses to be employees. We started our businesses to run our own lives and to run our own businesses. So it's so easy to fall into that trap of just getting through every day because you think these are the things that you have to do and you think this is what you have to get done, and not really taking that step back to consider, like, is this the right move? Is this where I should be putting my time and my energy? And that can really be detrimental to your business. As you saw, like, it can really hold your business back from the growth, from getting to that next level, from adding that new service that you want to add, whatever that may be for you. It can really prevent you from getting to whatever that next thing is.
Absolutely. Okay. So we talked about like the cost of being the bottleneck, i.e., me. So you have a formula. I guess we should go there for a minute. Your formula, you call it the break formula. Will you go
Mhm.
into kind of what that is and like how you came up with it and then kind of how it helps
Yeah.
for this problem?
Yeah, sure. So I created this formula because it was what I was already doing with my clients. And I was like, I need to like define this for people so
Mm-hmm.
that it's very clear in how it works. And the break formula is so that you're breaking that cycle of being the bottleneck in your business. And so we start with B, which is baseline. And baseline is sort of taking it back to understanding what's going on right now. What is really on your plate? What have you already committed to? What is, the things that you have to be doing in your business? Where is your time and your energy going right now? And that's really important because it sets you up for understanding where to go from here. Because if you don't know where you're starting from, then it can be really hard to understand sort of where you go. And so from there, we move on to R, which is record. And this is where you write everything down. So baseline is like thinking it through, and then record is actually writing it down and making it transparent. Because if you don't understand where your time is going, where your energy is going, if you can't see it all in front of you, then it's really hard to visualize what could be, or to understand sort of where your time leaks are and where your energy is really going as opposed to where you want it to be going. Like, maybe you didn't realize that you're spending an hour every day creating content for Instagram, but you've never gotten a client from Instagram. So should you be spending an hour every day creating that content? Like, is dancing in a TikTok video really bringing you clients? So by baselining and recording and seeing where your time is actually being spent and your energy is actually being spent, because remember, it's not just about your time, it's also about your energy, especially if you are still working in your day job, if you are a parent and can't spend full time in your business, you probably have very limited energy, very limited time. So you have to be spending your time on the things that are actually making a difference and are important. So by recording where your time and energy are actually going, makes it a lot easier to then make the changes. And so then we move into E, which is evaluate. And that's where we start really considering, should my time and energy be spent on these things that I am spending, where it's already
Mm.
going? Is this working for me, or is it actually draining me? Is it, a task that's actually moving the needle forward, or is it something that's just eating up the time because I think I have to do it, or somebody told me I should do it, or maybe it worked for you before, but it doesn't work for where your business now is, or you heard it from someone who said this was a good idea and you're like, all right, I'll start doing it. And then it just became a habit. And you're like, but why am I doing this? It's not actually doing anything for me. Like, I stopped using Instagram because it wasn't bringing me clients. It wasn't really building my community. I wasn't really being seen by anyone. So I put up a static grid, and I sometimes will do stories, but I'm not spending my time creating all of that content. It's not worth my energy. There's a lot of, better places for me to be spending my time and energy, like talking on podcasts with people like you.
Exactly. Well, and we go into that in our group coaching community all the time. I think to the point where people are probably sick of hearing me say it, but it's because it's true, right? I don't ever try to tell people like you need to do it this way. Like, I tell them, hey, here's what worked for me, but we've got to figure out what works for you. Like, where is your ideal client hanging out? Hey, are there certain platforms like Instagram or something that for you, we could make it your portfolio. So there's stuff there when a potential client goes there, they still see you. You've got the backlinks and stuff for your website. But when you focus your actual content, like for me, Google has always worked fabulously now that I've got it built up. It takes some time to get it there, but now that I've got it there. But I also have a few members in the membership that, social media works great for them. Their clients do come from social media. Fantastic. Then that is, so like you're saying, it's not about necessarily where you're posting. It's more of how can we make it more simple and make sure that you're posting in the right place for your business and your people.
Exactly. And you won't know if you're spending your time in the right place if you don't take a step back and actually look at where your time is going. So that's exactly why we sit down and we do this activity, because a lot of people think, well, I just want to fix what's wrong. But you can't know what's wrong if you don't sit down and take a look at it. I was working with my client, Denise, who was a nutritionist. She still is a nutritionist. She's a keto nutritionist. She actually had 10 nutritionists working for her. And she was maxed out on clients. She couldn't take any more clients on, but she couldn't understand why she always felt so busy. And I was like, first off, you're maxed out on clients and you're not evaluating if that's where your time should be going. If you're leading 10 other nutritionists, should you still be seeing clients? And if you want to still be seeing clients, that's fine. But she had dreams beyond that. She wanted to start a membership. She wanted to do more speaking engagements. And I was like, well, then we need to make sacrifices, because if your priority is building your business bigger, then you cannot be spending all of your time with clients. And she didn't really realize how much time her client time was taking up until we did this activity. She didn't realize, it's not just the 45-minute client session, but it's also the 15 minutes after charting the notes for the client. And then, maybe they have questions afterwards in her patient management system where they would come in and ask her things between sessions. And so all of that takes time and it takes energy, and it causes what we call context switching, where you're working on one thing and you're switching to another thing. And she wasn't giving herself the space and the, mental space to think, okay, where do I want my business to go? What's that next big step? I know that I want a membership. What does it look like? How do I get it started? Who do I need? She didn't give herself that space and that energy until we did this activity. And so what her big next step was, in the break formula, we go to A, which is adjust. And so now that we've evaluated everything, we have it all in front of us. Now we can make changes. Now we can finally see, all right, here is everything in front of us. Where do we want to make changes? What is actually more important to us? And so for Denise, we actually cut her client time down from twice a week to twice a month. She was only two days a month with clients in order for her to actually have the time and energy to do everything else that she wanted to do in her business. Because she was working nights, she was working weekends. Her daughter was about to have her first baby, and she was like, I don't know if I can even go see her. I have so much work to do. So we were able to pull back that client time. She was able to launch her membership to 15 brand new members all at once, beta members for her. And she was so excited because she was finally able to get that dream off the ground, but it took time. And it took the energy of us sitting down and seeing where her time and energy were actually going. I say time and energy a lot, but it's so important to consider both. We were finally able to see where the time and energy were going so that she could make those adjustments and those changes. And then she had the space for adding in those new things that she wanted to add in. And then from there, the final step is to just keep practicing and keep improving. That's the K in the break. And it's not a set it and forget it thing. It's not a rotisserie chicken in one of those infomercial ovens. You have to keep reevaluating. Is this still where my time and energy should be going? And for Denise's case, how much does she need to be involved in the membership now that it's up and running? Does she really need to be doing the Q&As herself, or can it be one of her other, nutritionists doing it for her? Does it still make sense for her to keep doing the 2 client days a month, or does she need to pull it back even further? So making sure that you are always looking at where your time is going and making sure that it's still the right fit for you as your company grows and evolves and changes.
No, I absolutely love that. And speaking of memberships, come join the POC Group Coaching Community. You should definitely do that. The link will be in the show notes. Lauren is coming to do our November one. You are so missing out if you are not there for these workshops each month. I work very hard to make sure that the guests I'm having here on POC are then coming in to go further with this information, because yes, it's great to hear it on a podcast episode, but when, like exactly what you're saying, once someone works with you, you get more details. So you're able to dive deeper and help people figure out like specifics versus just it being a very broad thing that, like, we're talking about today on a podcast. You should definitely come join that so you can hear what it is that Lauren's going to do for us in November, which I'm so excited about. Back to the break formula. What I love about that is it's kind of resonating, like I said a minute ago. Every single thing this summer, like every day I would wake up almost just stressed from the jump. Every day was like, oh God, I've got this to do and I've got to do this and I've got to do this. And, it was so much. And why I know me kind of going back to basics and, like you said, evaluating and then figuring it out. There's a couple things there, but one is, like you said, we start doing something and then we just assume, oh, I should keep doing that forever. No, like you have to take time in a business because it evolves, it grows, you grow. There's different things that happen that if you are just stuck in that same mindset of, well, when I started, I did it this way. So this is how I'm going to continue to do it forever. You will never get your business to where you want it to be. And it's okay if you're happy with the way it is, but there's always more potential out there. But what I love about it is just this past like week and a half, which while we're recording this, we're in August. And I just went my like back to basics middle of June. So it's been about 60 days of me just like going back to the basics and like being very intentional about evaluating and what I'm doing. This past week, my entire family has been like, why are you so happy? Like you're waking up happy, like it's really strange. What is going on here? Because they got so used to the stressed out, overworked me that just felt like I was on the rat race wheel constantly and like I couldn't ever get off. To now, it's more in alignment and I feel better about it. And I've, had a few days to go to the pool and like not feel guilty about going to the pool during the summer.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, there's all these additional things that like a break formula would help you with that are above and beyond just the business growing. It's your quality of life while running a business as well.
Yes. And Denise was actually able to take a month off to go visit her daughter in Europe
Nice.
while she had her first baby. So it all worked out for her. And also, the thing that I love about the break formula, not just because I created it, it's not specific. And what I mean by that is, I'm not going in there and telling you you have to time block or you have to, you have to take client calls on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Like, this is how it worked for all of my other clients. So this is how it's going to work for you. This is much more about you looking inward and really considering what is important to you, what matters for you in your business. For you, literally you, it was important for you to have time to enjoy the summer and go to the beach or the pool and, really enjoy the time that you have as opposed to just being stressed every day about your business. And that's what I love about the break formula is that it helps you figure out what it looks like for you. And it's not like some hustle bro coming in and telling you, like, you have to wake up at 5 a.m. and you have to do cold baths and you have to do this because that doesn't work for everybody. It does not work for me. I am not getting up at 5 a.m. and I'm definitely not doing cold baths. So, a formula like this really helps you discover you as opposed to someone telling you exactly what it is that you should be doing.
Absolutely. And that's when you're onto something with a legit framework of some sort or formula, framework, whatever you want to call it. This past, I don't know, probably 6 months or so, started really diving into formulas and frameworks and kind of like you said, the things that actually get our clients results as coaches and stuff. It honestly matters to have those standards, but at the same time, exactly what you said. Not that we expect it to be, okay, step one is go do this exact thing. And like it's more broad, but it's a formula that you can work with every time. Cause like
Mhm.
organizers, we all have that like acronym that's either space or something similar that, you start with sorting, then you put like items with like items, then, like you contain things. We have a formula that we go by every single time we go into a client's home that if we get stuck, okay, go back to the start sorting, sort the items, then put like with like. And it's those little things in life that honestly give you this like confidence, but also give you a way to figure out the answer to what it is that you're trying to figure out.
Yes. Yes. And that's why my last one is keep practicing, because now you can go back to the formula and, every so often keep evaluating. And I'm sure it's similar for organizers. Like, you don't just organize once, probably. You have to probably organize
Right.
repeatedly. Things get moved and changed and your life changes. So it's the same for time management and productivity. What works for you in one season of your life or your business probably won't always work for you. And so you always have to be reevaluating. And a framework or a formula gives you, I should really decide which one I'm calling it.
Yeah.
I've had it for months, and I always change the title. I need to be more consistent. A framework helps you, like you said, go back to basics and really know when you get stuck what the next step should be.
1,000%. Okay, so speaking of, you have a freebie. Would you like to talk about that for our
I
listeners?
sure do. So I am all about getting rid of what does not work for you. And I believe that every business owner can drop things that are on their plate. I am sure that there are things on your plate that you should not be doing. And so I developed my Hell Yes Hard Pass task sorter to help you figure out what things in your business are that hell yes, I'm excited to do this, it's moving my business forward. Or if it's a hard pass, if it's something that really doesn't serve your business or your life, and it's not an activity or a task that you want to be doing. So you can go to laurenglynn.com/POC to download that. And it is a Notion template, and you can go in and enter in all of the things that you have to do in your business, and it will give you guidelines and my framework for figuring out what is really worth your time and your energy and what maybe you can throw in the dumpster.
That's amazing because that's what we do for our clients, right? Like we help them figure out like, is this a I love it or is this a I mean, I like it. I spent money on it. Right. But do you
Mhm.
love it or use it? Or is it just taking up your space and wasting your time? And so I love that that's your freebie. And I will definitely put the link in the show notes for sure. And then again, if you all are listening, come join the memberships because we're going to dive so much deeper into this topic in the workshop in November. Like, this has been so good. I'm so thankful that you came in to talk about this because I know for a lot of us, even when we're first starting out, there's actually some stuff that now that I've been doing this a while, I'm like, ooh, if I would have just done that when I was first starting out. But every time we reevaluate and do the K part of break, we have a chance to be starting out again. Like, we've
Mhm.
grown, we've learned, we know more now. Okay, well, let's start again and like keep figuring out and keep evaluating and keep doing the things that we teach our clients to do, but learn to do that in our own business. So, thank you so
Yes.
much for coming on the show and explaining your break framework.
Well, thank you so much for having me. It's been so much fun.
I love it. And those of you that were listening, we will catch you in the next one. Leave a comment. I would love to hear from you. And if you have not gone and left a review for the podcast, please do that. It really does help the podcast grow. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for joining us on this episode of the Pro Organizers Coach podcast. Go to ProOrganizers.community to find all the ways that we can help you succeed in your business. Remember, you have the power to make a difference in people's lives through decluttering and organization. So keep honing your skills, embracing those challenges, and fostering connections. Girl, you've got this.